How's it going, Guardians? It is your boy Turkey here at SGN Hub, bringing you another Destiny video, and today we are bringing you something we haven't put out on the channel in a long time, and that is a Warlock build. This is a build that I have been using the past week or so, I want to say past a week or two, and I've been having a lot of fun with it. A really enjoyable gameplay loop in my opinion, and we have a lot of flexibility in this slot that really makes the highlight of the build, and I feel like the armor piece is one that we don't see too often. And it also got a rework not too long ago, and that exotic that we were talking about is actually the Chromatic Fire. And now that we know the exotic, well, without further ado, like, comment, subscribe, and all that, but let's talk about the build and what we're doing with the Chromatic Fire today. First and foremost, the Chromatic Fire's exotic trait is Crystalline Transistor, and this exotic reads, precision final blows from kinetic weapons create an explosion in the element of your equipped super and apply a matching elemental effect. So as it says, it creates an elemental explosion in the effect of your equipped super. So this is going to work well with prismatic, any subclass, whether it be just the regular subclasses, light and dark, because it's just going to use your equipped super. So it's all about that, and that's what we're playing off of. And it reads that if you are using an arc super, it blinds, solar scorches, void weakens, stasis slows, and strand severs. The one that we are actually using today, and the super that we're using, is void, and it's the weakening targets. And the weapon that we are actually using to achieve this is pretty interchangeable, and this is where the build kind of does have some variety, but I'm a fan of taking advantage of more than one slot whenever we have something like that where it says kinetic weapons. I'd like to have 2 kinetic weapons equipped if possible, whereas if it was Path of the Burning Steps, I would also like to have 2 solar weapons equipped, i.e. to maximize the bonus that we're getting from our exotic. So in our primary slot, this is where it becomes interchangeable, and I'm not going to say a particular exotic or, you know, what you need. This is kind of what suits you, but in my opinion, this is the most efficient. And there is going to be another honorable mention that isn't one that I have because I never got the roll. Currently, I have the Breakneck equipped, and that is going to be with Shoot to Loot and Kinetic Tremors, which is an absolutely insane combination for auto rifles, especially given all the auto rifle mods that we have this season. Especially that Kinetic Tremors does pick up those orbs. And when I was mentioning the honorable mentions, it's really this perk combination that will shine the most, I think, with this build. So we also have the Hung Jury SR4 Adept with Shoot to Loot and Kinetic Tremors, and another one, if you do have it, is the Battle Scar, which also comes with Shoot to Loot and Kinetic Tremors. Now, the whole replay of value behind this is obviously the Shoot to Loot, because you're picking up those orbs of power, but in our Void subclass, this is where it's all going to come together. So first and foremost, let's take a look at our aspects and fragments. Child of the Old Gods is one of our fragments, and that's going to read, cast your rift to create a Void Soul. When you damage a target with a weapon, your Void Soul flies to them and drains them, doing damage and weakening them. When a target is being drained, you are granted grenade and melee energy or health if you're running Empowering Rift. Defeating a target who is being drained by your soul grants class ability energy. That's going to help us keep that weaken on the enemies and also generate some of our orbs, and that will be with our fragments that we will look at the next one, which is simple. Defeat a target with a void ability to activate Devour. Very simple. Your Devour effects are improved, restoring additional health and grenade energy. Now the aspects are very simple. Now the fragments, we have Echo of Persistence. Void buffs applied to you, invisibility, overshield, and Devour have increased duration. In our next slot, we have Echo of Leeching. Melee final blows start health regeneration for you and nearby allies. Now, truth be told, my gear doesn't really meet the requirements that I'm looking for, and I may have something in the vault, but I just wanted to get the video out. This is just to achieve 100 res, and I'm sure you could find something else simply because we have Devour, and we're going to be collecting a lot of orbs, so you don't really, in my opinion, need the melee final blows to start health regeneration. This was just to achieve that 100, but if I can find something suitable, I will replace it. And in the next slot, we have Echo of Harvest. Defeating weakened targets creates an orb of power and a void breach. Now remember, with Chromatic Fire, if we kill a target with a precision blow, it creates a weakening explosion nearby. Now this is going to create, like it says, an orb of power and a void breach. This is off of all kinetic precision final blows if there's enemies nearby. And if you have Kinetic Tremors procced and you hit an enemy with an auto rifle, and it's the enhanced version, I believe it's 10 bullets to proc Kinetic Tremors, and it is going to pick up those orbs of power and grant you Devour and give you super energy. And a lot of instances, it will probably make 2 orbs of power on kill because you will have Kinetic Siphon 10 on your helmet, and you also be creating an orb of power for defeating the weakened targets. And our last fragment slot, we have Echo of Starvation. Picking up a Void Breach or an Orb of Power grants Devour, making it that much easier to maintain that uptime on Devour. And whenever you are using a shoot to loot weapon, it makes it that much easier to maintain as well. Now, kind of switching back to our weapons, we talk about shoot to loot weapons. Another one that I'm not using, obviously, that would potentially suit this really well, or maybe even better, but I just like the idea of having the kinetic tremors and kind of being more on autopilot, is the Kvostov, which also comes with shoot to loot, and you have the shots that will, taper off to enemies nearby. And that would probably also take out some of the weakened targets, but I'm just really enjoying this synergy between the shoot to loot and this, and having the microcosm as a free slot, like I said, to double up on the kinetic damage. The Outbreak absolutely shreds as well, because you gotta think, if you weaken targets and then those Siva nanites go out searching for enemies nearby, they're going to do a pretty decent amount of damage as well. In our special slot, this is something that I believe is also interchangeable. I was trying a Repulsor Brace and the Disruption Break on a Breach Loaded. I was testing out Wilder Flight, which I really enjoyed because it comes with a Repulsor Brace. Given that we are making a lot of enemies weaken, we can shoot that double GL in there and get that Void Shield. Another acceptable one, like I said, between wave frames is probably going to be Explosive Personality, also comes with Disruption Break, and then also Truth Teller comes with Disruption Break. Now, this isn't something you have to do if you feel like you have enough damage for your kinetic weapon, or, I just kind of like it as the cherry on top. If you're looking for snipers with Disruption Break, Widow's Bite also comes with it, just to put in that quick damage. And the reason I'm really suggesting this is because it's really easy, I think, to swap back to an AR and put some more damage than I think it otherwise would be with something else in the primary slot, like switching to a hand cannon after Disruption Break with Explosive Personality. If you hit multiple and then you proc Kinetic Tremors, you're getting that extra kinetic damage to all the enemies around, so more synergy for the kinetic weapons. And like I said, in the last slot, we have Microcosm, just to get more kinetic energy, and it honestly just shreds. If you felt like you didn't want to get Devour from the orbs, which I really don't see why you wouldn't, I guess you could run Buried Bloodline, but having that exotic slot freed up whenever you're just constantly super is just really, really beneficial. And I like builds that don't necessarily have an exotic weapon that hinge upon it, because it provides you a little bit more freedom to play the game that you want to. And prior to forgetting about it, let me talk about our armor mods real quick, because it's not super important, but it's, just something that I guess I could mention. In our head slot, we have just a heavy ammo finder, special ammo scout, and kinetic siphon, like I said, to make more of those orbs of power that we're going to scoop with our shoot to loot. In our second slot, we just have heavy-handed, fastball, and void loader. Next up on our chromatic fire, we have arc reserves, void reserves, and whatever else is on there. That's typically just dependent on what I'm running. That's something that rotates. That's not really a meaningful mod description, I guess, in the chest piece. In the boots, we do have double kinetic weapon surge, though, because we are rocking Microcosm with whatever our kinetic primary is. Final armor slot, we are just rocking 2-time dilations, and that is all. The build is really self-explanatory, and this thing is an absolute monster in team content, or if there's tons and tons of waves of enemies. If you see like a yellow bar in the middle, it functions very similar to Kvostov. You just don't have to aim for those headshots, especially if you think it's going to kill the enemy in the middle, but if it doesn't, that's even better. If you know that they're going to take 10 shots and then you can get the crit off in the middle, you're going to proc Kinetic Tremors, you're going to weaken the enemies nearby, and you're going to get tons of orbs and really fast super regen. Just, it's going to be faster than you'd expect, because you're snagging 2 orbs at a time sometimes whenever you're taking these enemies out, and Kinetic Tremors is procking. I haven't been playing Warlock that much, but this has been a really good time, and this worked actually even really well in GMs whenever I was just using the Hung Jury SR4. I was kind of swapping between the two. I wanted to see if the Outbreak Prime was as efficient as the legendary with something else, as in the primary slot, but it turned out to be really efficient, and I was really satisfied with how this build played. There was also an instance where I was trying to use the Ergo Sum with the Wolfpack rounds and the Chivalric Fire with the Volatile rounds to see if, just to throw in extra space. Like I was saying, whenever you have that extra, whenever you don't center your build around an exotic, it makes it that much more, I think, functionable. And I hope you guys enjoy this build, because honestly I have, and I think I'll probably be taking this into Onslaught. It's just a lot of fun to see the weekend explosions coming off of a Kinetic. You can pick up the orbs with shoot to loot, and just a really satisfying gameplay loop, I think. I don't really think there's much more to say about the build, but if you have any comments, any ways to improve it, please feel free to let me know in the comment section below. It's been your boy Turk. Peace.